What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and in anticipation of the Spider-Verse film, we are covering the end of the Spider-Verse. Yes, the death of the Spider-Verse in Marvel Comics. And this story has a ridiculously amazing ending, and I'm really curious to see how you guys feel about this. So, what this does is this initially opens up with Peter Parker speaking with Norman Osborn. Pray tell why Peter Parker is speaking with Norman Osborn, you may be saying as you're watching this video. Because Peter's working for Norman Osborn. Crazy, right? Norman Osborn's the Green Goblin. He's literally Peter's greatest enemy. And this is cool because they're basically allies. Now, all this took place during Zeb Wells' Spider-Man run. As always, if you want to get caught up, make sure you guys check the link in the description. But the long and short of this is that Norman Osborn, basically being the financier for Peter Parker, allows him to be a more effective Spider-Man. And in fact, one of the things that Norman Osborn has been doing is he's been providing money to Peter that allows him to either use Norman's technology or use his own ingenuity to develop a more enhanced spider suit, to give him different technologies like a little Spider-Man robot and so on and so forth. It's a cool development with his character. But the reason why Norman Osborn is hitting up Peter is because an Oscorp truck has been hijacked. Now, I promise you, a hijacked truck is not the main crux of the end of the Spider-Verse. The truck crashes into the web of life and destiny and all the Spider-Men die. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace. I promise you that's not what happens. Do not worry. But of course, Peter does the normal Spider-Man stuff, which is swinging in and, basically getting the guy out of the truck and then handing him over to the authorities and yada, 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 all the normal Spider-Man stuff. What's cool about this is this entire situation is being watched by a woman called Shathra, who's the current controller or the person who manages what's called the Great Nest, which is what used to be the Web of Life and Destiny. Now, a little bit of explanation here for people who don't know what this is. The Web of Life and Destiny is one of the most important developments in the history of the Spider-Man mythos. And the easiest way to explain it is to give you a scenario. So let's imagine that it's like Monday and Peter Parker has to go to the post office. On the way to the post office, he gets into a fight with Venom and some innocent bystanders killed. And the innocent bystander was working on a cure for cancer. They're dead, the cure never gets put out there in the world. Now, a person who is in control of the Web of Life and Destiny, specifically the Master Weaver as they're called, would see this entire event unfold before it happens. So what they would do is they would actually pull on the string of Peter Parker, and instead of Peter going to the post office, he would go to like Walmart. So the fight never takes place, the bystander never dies, and the cure for cancer is never prevented. That's how the Web of Life and Destiny works. Now, everybody has a kind of role they play within the Web of Life and Destiny. Peter Parker's what's called the Chosen One, at least he is at the time this story starts. You also have like the Scion, and you've got Cindy Moon and different things like that, and we'll talk about those characters as time goes on. But the Web of Life and Destiny is important because it is quite literally a web that intertwines all the different spiders together. And so what Shathra has been doing is basically taking over the Web of Life and Destiny, controlling it, and basically corrupting or killing every single Spider-Man and Spider-Woman from across the multiverse. Now, this plot may sound familiar, it may sound just like the original Spider-Verse event. It is not. And one of the reasons why it is not is because as this whole thing transpires, a portal is opened up from the realm of Shathra, and like all these crazy little like spider wasps and things come flying out there. All they normally do is just attack a spider and basically kill them, and that's effectively it. But as a kind of aid that comes to Peter Parker by way of other Spider-Man and Spider-Women from across the multiverse who are watching this, he's met by the arrival of Morlun. Now, here's the thing. Morlun, I would argue, while people say that Norman Osborn is the most significant enemy of Peter Parker, Morlun is the most powerful. Like, one of the things that's established here in this story, and really ever since Morlun was first introduced to Marvel Comics, he's every bit as strong as the Incredible Hulk. And like, Peter Parker's commented on that. The first time they fought, Peter said, like, this guy punched harder than the Hulk. It's crazy how strong Morlun is. Now, Morlun is what you call an inheritor. In years past in Marvel Comics, Morlun and the inheritors would travel around the multiverse and consume the life force of every Spider-Man and Spider-Woman they could possibly find. Now, the reason why Morlun does this is because as inheritors, they feed on what are called totems, basically avatars of animals on Earth. So Peter Parker represents spiders. There was a point where Morlun went to Wakanda and like tried to start some problems with Black Panther, and Black Panther was like, son, you don't want this smoke. He whooped his ass. I mean, just beat the hell out of Morlun, and they ran him out. Morlun got wrecked. It was absolutely amazing. But it was a really, really cool moment there. Morlun and the Inheritors, they prefer spider totems in the same way that you and I prefer Chinese food. It just tastes better. You know what I mean? Like, it's just that kind of a thing. So when Morlun arrives here on the scene, naturally and rightfully so, Peter Parker immediately attacks him, because every single time Morlun's ever appeared in Marvel Comics, it's been to kill Peter Parker. He's always been there to just kill the guy, right? And then like absorb his life essence. And in a lot of ways, the reason why is because Peter Parker, at least those of us who have been down the romantic road, the romance road once or twice, the one that got away. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta try to get him back. And that's literally what it is. Now, of course, Morlun is actually trying to talk to Peter, and there's a point when he just stops fighting him. But Peter Parker, realizing how dangerous Morlun is, keeps attacking him anyway. Now, in the midst of all this, when Morlun just kind of overpowers Peter, what ends up happening is Cindy Moon and Miles Morales come to his aid. Now, Miles Morales, I think, is a character that a lot of you are probably familiar with, if for no other reason than the Into the Spider-Verse films. He's basically a character or a person who became the new Spider-Man after the death of Peter Parker in the Ultimate Universe, a whole different branding initiative for Marvel Comics. Cindy Moon is much less known, and in reality, I hope we get to see her in film form because she's amazing. But Cindy Moon is also a girl who has Spider-Man powers. The difference is that when she first showed up, it was hilarious. Her and Peter were like romantically drawn, and it was more than just like, damn, she's hot, and her being like, damn, he's hot, right? Like, let's go bang. No, it was like their connection through like the web of life and destiny that they were drawn together. And so literally, these two couldn't stop banging. I mean, like, you couldn't pry them apart with a crowbar. Like, it was just every time you turned a page, it's like, yep, there's Peter Parker and Cindy Moon, man, just touching naughty bits. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, they couldn't stop. It was hilarious. One of the funniest moments in the Spider-Man mythos. But of course, Cindy Moon and Miles Morales were also a part of the original Spider-Verse event. So they know who Morlun is, and they understand the threat of Morlun being here. Here's the irony behind all of this. Even Jessica Drew shows up. Spider-Woman, she appears. Spider-Man Noir comes through a portal and he shows up. Now, the reason why they're all even here in the first place is because they were kind of pulled together. That's the way the web of life and destiny works, is that all the Spider-Man and Spider-Women are kind of intertwined, right? They're all sort of connected in a different way. This kind of connection has manifested in different capacities. For example, during the original Spider-Verse event, Spider-Man 2099, Miguel O'Hara, there was a point when he could actually feel the deaths of every version of himself around the multiverse. Now, some of this was due to a contraption that he had that basically tapped into his brainwaves and allowed him to experience the lives of himself across the multiverse, but it was also the web of life and destiny. The problem with this is that these different spider wasps that exist out there are more for just killing spiders, that they're actually there to corrupt them, to infect them. And so when Spider-Man Noir shows up, they all just kind of celebrate the moment because he's basically there to help them out. But then he immediately grabs Jessica Drew, and then as soon as he does, he stabs her through the stomach with an Inheritor dagger. And people are like, what are you doing, man? Like, you're supposed to be on our side. Why are you attacking Jessica Drew? And what he says is that with this dagger, she's been severed from the web of life and destiny. Now, because the web of life and destiny also serves as the basis behind the life force for the different Spider-Man and Spider-Woman who are out there, that in effect, once she's stabbed and she's severed from it, she basically starts to literally unravel. She turns into like a giant thing of webbing and just falls to the ground. She dies. Now, the way in which she dies is one of the most over-dramatic things ever. She's like screaming and she's worried about her child and like who's gonna take care of her kid, right? As if such a thing is relevant. Of course it is, guys. I'm just messing with you. But it is one of these cool things because what ends up happening is Morlun then turns around and attacks Spider-Man Noir. And that's when he tells Peter, I'm sent here to help you. I'm not here to be your enemy. Now, having Morlun on their side is huge. It is immense because this guy, again, one, he's exceedingly well versed in virtually any and all capabilities of Spider-Man because this guy spent eons, along with the other Inheritors, they spent eons traveling around the multiverse and killing Spider-Man. So you would be hard pressed to find a Spider-Man out there in the universe or in the multiverse even that could defeat Morlun. The only exception to that was the Peter Parker, and I forgot what Earth he was from. Somebody in the comments remind me, because I can't remember what Earth he was from exactly, but it was the Peter Parker who never lost the Enigma Force, right? Like basically the Peter Parker who could operate on a cosmic level. He was like this cosmically godly, powerful, like Spider-Man, and then gets his life essence absorbed in the most ridiculous way ever. People were pissed when he died, but he was amazing, right? But it's that kind of thing, right? Outside of a character like that, you'd be hard-pressed to find a Spider-Man that could go toe-to-toe with Morlun successfully and survive for any measure of time. So he's a massive ally to have here. More so than that, what he says is the reason why he's here is because there is a threat that's greater than the Inheritors, because it's not enough to simply have these different Spider-Men being killed off. The reason why they're dying is because they refuse to turn to the side of Shathra, right? So it's either be corrupted and basically turn to her side or be killed. Now, one of the things and one of the distinctions that I want to put here is that not everybody who turns does so willingly. Some do, right? Some like turn to her cause willingly and choose to join her side, but others are forced into doing it. But regardless of the situation, Spider-Man Noir is one of the Spider-Men who have been corrupted. And with his aid, it's leading to the deaths of all these different Spider-Men. More so than that, like when he tells them, you guys have no friends out there in the multiverse, what he says is, I actually lied. You do have friends out there in the multiverse. The problem is that all your friends are now enemies. So like Spider-Punk and Spider-Gwen and all these different versions of Spider-Man are corrupted by the power of Shathra and literally traveling around and either killing or corrupting other Spider-Men. But with that being said, guys, we're gonna bring this to an end. I'm excited to get to the rest of this because the story gets amazing. Thank you all for watching. Let me know if you want me to cover the rest in the comments section, and I will catch you all later. Peace.